Well, another year has come and gone, and a lot of people are relieved for this year to be over. I don't want to go too much into detail, but there was a lot to be frustrated with this year. That's why I always like going back to one of my comfort areas when reflecting upon the year, which is talking about what made the year great for movies.
Whoa!
Okay, that also had its fair share of bullshit too, if I'm being honest. It can be hard to be optimistic with so many changes going on to the worst effect, and doesn't help when we get shit like the Minecraft movie, War of the Worlds starring Ice Cube, the live action How to Train Your Dragon and Snow White remake, and also. Wait, why dwell on all of that? Sure, it's easy to, but just because of bad shit happening this past year doesn't mean there hasn't been things to look forward to or things to even like that has happened. As now, I want to talk about the movies that actually made this year worthwhile.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an airplane, and Lenny Bruce is not afraid. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.
Going right ahead and saying it, this wasn't quite the best year for movies. At least compared to previous years from the 2020s. Maybe I've been spoiled among the films of 2022, 23, and even some of 2024, but 2025 didn't quite have as many blown away quality-wise movies that I come to expect from those previous years. Hence why this is a shorter list, with only 10 movies this time around. But at least there were 10 movies, I would say with confidence, that were satisfying in their own ways. So I'm going to bring in the new year by talking about the movies I thought were worthwhile in 2025. And I hope you get around to watching some of these if you haven't already. Before we start though, I wanted to give out a few honorable mentions. Those being Companion, Weapons, Elio, Zootopia 2, Sorry Baby, The Phoenician Scheme, Wake Up Dead Man, and Begonia. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. These are my personal favorite movies of 2025.
Hey, Mickey.
Yeah.
What's it feel like to die?
Now here's a movie I bet most of you forgot even came out this year. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that Mickey 17 ended up being overshadowed among everything else in 2025. Because prior to it actually being released, it had some major hype attached to it. Despite being the follow-up to Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, and with so many delays, Mickey 17 kinda just came and went. And it's a shame, because this was a really good movie, taking place in the dystopian future, focusing on a clone named Mickey, having not only to deal with him dying all the time, but a whole plethora of problems as well, from protecting creatures, dealing with a new evil clone, and uncovering a problem started by Mark Ruffalo, channeling his best impression of the worst thing to happen in 2025.
Keep that up for 1 minute and you waste 5 calories.
I don't even explain who he is, you can figure it out for yourself. While maybe overlooked and not nearly on the same level as the hard-to-top Parasite, I still found Mickey 17 to be a very insightful sci-fi movie. That was a neat take to have Bong do a movie this big, tackling so many different ideas that reflect on our current times. Arguably too on the nose with some of its themes at points, but given how times are currently, it's a movie that's sort of needed. Thankfully, Bong makes it an incredibly entertaining ride from beginning to end, with still a lot of his craft at play. It's shot well, has a good production design, still retains a little bit of hope that I love seeing from Bong, and you got Robert Pattinson playing off against Robert Pattinson, as this definitely was the year of actors taking on two roles within the same movie. I still wish Pattinson was the Hedgehog clone in Sonic 3, but having him work with a director like Bong Joon-ho is a good trade-off. If you haven't seen Mickey 17 yet, I recommend doing so. A surprisingly overlooked and forgotten film that I think started off the year pretty good, and it continues to get better from here. But hey, that's just the first of this list of solid films. There's more to come in the year 2025, but at least we got Bong Joon-ho to start off this list really well.
No, Marty. Both you and Jennifer turn out fine. It's your kids, Marty. Something has got to be done about your kids.
One downside to this year for movies is that one thing I usually tend to look forward to every year was kind of lacking, admittedly. A24 has been one of my favorite film studios in recent memory, but this year, I hate to say it, but I wasn't quite as impressed with their lineup. I mean, Death of a Unicorn, Legend of Ochi. Not to say that these movies are bad or anything. They still had some good movies, like Eddington. That was pretty good. But when you have to compete with the stuff from previous years, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Zone of Interest, and even I Saw the TV Glow, it just seems pretty underwhelming that there wasn't a movie from A24 that even cracked my top 10 list this year. That is, I would be saying that if it wasn't for the fact that this studio ended this year pretty strong with the help of Directed by Josh Chaffee, this is a movie centered around Timothée Chalamet playing as this incredibly competitive and narcissistic ping pong player named Marty, and all the crazy stressful shit he gets himself into. Given it's from an Uncut Gems director, a somewhat stressful ride is to be expected. Yet the film still managed to be very well directed and paced, never really slowing down due to the whole character of Marty being very fascinating. I know some are rather mixed on the character himself to the point he kinda makes or breaks the movie for a lot of people. You can argue he's an asshole, but his story is at least so intriguing that, much like Uncut Gems, it's not so much about a likable protagonist than it is seeing the lengths a crazy person could go to get what he wants. If it makes anyone who dislikes Marty as a character in this feel better, I honestly felt more sorry for Moses the dog than I did for Marty in this film. Seriously, that dog went through so much bullshit in this movie, it's not even funny. But regardless, Marty Supreme is a neat film and easily my favorite movie of A24's output this year. Let's hope 2026 will be a stronger year for the studio, but if they at least give us something like this again, I'm sure it will still be a little worthwhile.
God damn it! Viva la revolution!
So, I have to admit, this next pick was easily the main film that grew on me the most since I first saw it, as I wasn't quite in love with one battle after another, as much as other people were when I first saw it. Don't get me wrong, I thought this was a very good movie. In fact, I saw it even before it got an official Rotten Tomatoes score at an early screening, and was still impressed. Though, in conjunction with how many people are saying that this is the best movie of the year, I almost had to say, really? I mean, it was good, but was it that good? Upon further reflection, one battle after another did stick with me in a positive light, to where even though it's still not quite #1 film of the year for me, I can at least see the hype around it. A gigantic, crazy road trip dealing with a revolution against white supremacists, and the mix of crazy, messed up people dealing with their own problems on this cross-country, intense adventure about America. Definitely a film of its time, but it also managed to be quite an engaging film, with a good cast of characters, a really smart script that's both funny and heartfelt at points, and it's just really awesome to see Paul Thomas Anderson tackle a movie on such a huge scale. It's one of the main things that makes me very happy that this movie has gotten a lot of the love it has been getting. PTA has always been an incredibly talented filmmaker. Even if I wouldn't quite say this is his best work, I'm thankful that this movie was a gateway for others to witness how much talent this guy has. So much so to where I will be extremely satisfied if this is the movie that gives him a Best Director Oscar, because he deserves it for all of his unfathomable talent. If you are one of those who thought this movie was the best of the year and are watching this, then I highly encourage you to check out the other great movies Paul Thomas Anderson has done over the years, if you haven't already. Seriously, check out Boogie Nights if you haven't. Easily my favorite of his work. That movie is awesome. Regardless, One Battle After Another is one satisfying motion picture event you don't want to miss out on, whether you're familiar with Paul Thomas Anderson's work or not.
See you in the sequel, which always does better than the original in the opening weekend, but is never as good as the original!
Animation has still been having a lot to struggle with in the 2020s, for no real discernible reason. Fortunately, we did have some good victories in the animation world this year, including an animated movie that made some major bank, being possibly the highest grossing film to come out this year. Sure, it was a sequel, but I gotta give some props for this animated movie being so good. It feels so nice to see it make over $1 billion. No, not Zootopia 2. Don't get me wrong, that movie was a lot of fun. And I very much appreciate how this was a Disney sequel that actually turned out pretty dang good. But it's still not the first movie to me, as I'm talking about the other animated sequel that came out this year that made over $1 billion. What, you never heard of Nezha 2? Well, I can't fault all of you, unless if you lived in China. This movie might have come under your radar. What you need to know is that the Nezha movies deal with this demon child character known as Nezha, and apparently he's part of stories dealing with ancient Chinese culture. These two movies basically take those myths and kind of turns them into a big animated movie, similar to how Disney did with their CGI animated films. Except, I hate to say it, but I don't think Disney has ever gone as hard as this movie goes. In fact, unlike Zootopia 2, which admittedly was a downgrade despite being a good movie in my opinion, Nezha 2 is the exact opposite in comparison to the first film. The first movie was a good time, but something about it felt a tiny bit lacking, with a standard story and characters. But it doing so many ambitious things for an animated film, being more fixated on action and lore, that I appreciate what it did to stand out among other movies of this caliber. The sequel doubles down and turns a simple animated movie into kind of an insane epic with a lot of action that borders on a PG-13 rating. So, not as kiddie as you would expect for a movie about a little troublemaking kid. Yet, it also has a lot of heart and character, being a more personal film, and it always mixes things up when it comes to its set pieces, being a movie that's very engaging for its 2.5-hour runtime. Again, this isn't your typical animated movie, and that's all the more reason why, foreign film or not, this is a must-see for animation fans. Even if it wasn't as big of a hit in the States, I hope it gets some traction, as being the highest grossing animated film is certainly nothing to shrug off against, and it deserves that recognition. The best part about that, it managed to beat out that shitty Disney remake this year. Nothing spells satisfaction than an animated movie being more popular than some slop. However, even though Nezha 2 was a huge phenomenon in China, even that little demon boy couldn't go up against what ended up maybe being the biggest worldwide phenomenon of this year. I guess you could say Nezha wasn't quite ready for this movie to give him the takedown.
Take down, 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 down. 100 tails to the world. Take down, take down, down, down.
underestimating this one big time. Here I was suggesting that you should also check out K-Pop Demon Hunters in my Elio review, because I figured a streaming movie wasn't going to get quite as much attention as a big theatrical release. Oh man, what a weird call to make looking back at Elio's box office. Although, honestly, that movie needed more love too. You guys should check it out. Though that's not to say that there isn't any merit to this next movie, as K-Pop Demon Hunters is one kick-ass experience of a movie. Taking a music genre as crazy popular as K-pop and turning it into an incredibly expressive animated movie that has 3 awesome gals as their leads. Throwing some really interesting themes on perfection, some badass action sequences that take full advantage of Sony's Spider-Verse animation style, and a rockin' soundtrack. A soundtrack that young audience have been so obsessed with that I think this pretty much became the next Frozen in terms of animation popularity. Some might shrug that fact, but considering how much this soundtrack slaps, I don't take issue with it. I know sometimes people can get annoyed of a success story like this, but for me, this is a win. The fact that one of the most talked about and popular movies of this year was an original IP that's an animated film is something to behold, especially in a time when animation is hurting. I hope this paves the way for more unique films like this in the future, and I'll be there for the sequel when it comes out in a few years from now. Let's hope Netflix actually gives this a theatrical release at first, because seeing this kind of vibrant animation isn't done justice on a small TV screen. A great movie that I'm sure you probably have seen by now. And I'll end this by stating a question that some of you are probably asking me. Who is my favorite of the Huntrix girls? Let's see. I'm gonna go with Mira. What can I say? I have a thing for tall, tough girls. Anyway, check this movie out if you haven't, so you can really see how it's done. Or should I say, dun dun dun. I guess I'll just move on to the next film. Back to talking about James Gunn and Superman yet again. Won't dive in too much into this one, given my thoughts in the James Gunn video has pretty much stayed consistent. It's a great return to form for DC after such a crazy timeline with the universe prior to James Gunn's entrance to it. We get a Superman movie that's more interesting than anything else we have gotten recently. And if this is a peak of things to come to DC, then I truly believe that this is the time for this franchise to shine. Part of the reason I do try to be as optimistic as I can be is because I do see genuine improvement when things turn out not so good or even bad at points. Sometimes it's harder for certain things more than others, but at least with the DC universe, for as weird and inconsistent this road has been, I'm glad this Superman movie was the follow-up to Man of Steel we needed. A good start to the new universe. And maybe I'll cover this celebration of the DC Universe redemption later this year. But until then, I'm glad Superman is the punk rocker hero we deserve.
In the name of God, now I know what it feels like to be God.
Now here's a match made in heaven, an adaptation of one of the most well-known monster stories, this being Frankenstein, done by the man himself, Guillermo del Toro.
Fuck AI.
Even despite the fact that this version takes a lot of liberties with the original novel, being not the most faithful adaptation, everyone I have talked to who has seen this movie says it lives up to what you want a Del Toro Frankenstein movie to be. And I'm right there with them, as this is an incredibly well done movie that becomes more of a romanticized tragedy than a horror movie, yet one that captivates from beginning to end. As if Del Toro's incredible art direction wasn't fantastic enough, he gives this story a lot of soul and character, being a more complex narrative about forgiving and also the idea of playing God, which is more of the intentional themes Mary Shelley was initially trying to get across in her story. Del Toro expanded upon it in so many creative ways, and it gets so deep with its characters that it's genuinely emotional. I even know people who cried during this movie. And the idea of someone crying at a Frankenstein movie might sound weird on the surface, but honestly, that's how powerful this version of the story is. Excellent performances, perfect production design, and breathtaking cinematography is proof that Del Toro fully knows how to take advantage of the film medium. Man, he's such a talented director that I can't help but think maybe I should make a ranking video on his films. Maybe it'll be something to put together for the Halloween season. Either way, let's hope this man never stops making movies and advocate for cinema more in the near future. I just hope he makes another animated project. Please, Del Toro, Pinocchio is so good. Do more animation. Either way, good stuff. Let's move on to the next film.
I would not take the road through Moria unless I had no other choice.
Another truly phenomenal film that should not go under your radar. No Other Choice is a movie I just saw recently, and I'm glad I hold off this list by waiting to watch this, cause it's well worth it. About a man going to extreme lengths to provide for his family. As the title implies, it's most definitely because there is no other choice. I haven't seen a whole lot of films from Korean director Park Chan-Wook, and by that I mean I've only seen Oldboy. But hey, that film kicks so much ass, I'm already sold on this guy being a masterful filmmaker. Thankfully, No Other Choice continues to showcase Wook's undeniable talent so well, as this is one of the most expertly crafted films you'll see. It's never dull with how dedicated this character is on seeing some of the most hilarious and sometimes downright sadistic and uncomfortable things you will see in a movie this year. It's so well shot, the performances are great all across the board, and this easily has the best editing you will see in a movie in 2025. It's a movie I will recommend to everyone to see, as it's another very telling movie of the times that really asks the question, was it all worth it? In the case of sitting through this, it definitely was. Okay, except for that one scene involving someone dealing with something painful in the mouth. I'm starting to get the trend that Wook has that a lot in his movies, just from this and Oldboy alone. I mean, I totally get it, but still, oof. But other than that, fantastic movie. Highly recommend you check this one out. Hopefully it'll get some award recognition. Oh wait. Shit. This wasn't even nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Oscars this year. Oh well. It still should have been. And I still highly recommend checking this out. Along with the next movie on our countdown that's not only expected to possibly win Best Picture, but is also one that I'm pretty sure most of you have seen by now.
Somebody take me in your arms tonight.
Oh boy, Sinners, the big one from this year, as this is the film that truly got up to that peak level of filmmaking quality I expected from previous years. A film that definitely wasn't unnoticed, as Sinners is one of the best success stories of the entire year, being one of the most profitable movies to have come out. And shockingly enough, it's an original movie? And yet, somehow people found that to be an issue, when, come on. This is the kind of movie we need if we want to show that new ideas can sell. Something that doesn't seem quite as marketable at first, being a big budget vampire movie taking place in the South, ends up being a film many connected with. And for good reason. Sinners not only takes advantage of the vampire mythos by bringing in something real unique to the genre, but it's also just a really well executed movie that showcases the power of music, showing how it can transcend through time, and for as beautiful as it can be, it can also attract evil, leading this to be a movie with so many layers to it. It really is an innovative film in regards to representation and original concepts, and that's not even including how masterfully directed this is. Ryan Coogler outdid himself, and to be fair, I've always found him to be an incredible talent. While I may not felt Black Panther was a Best Picture winner, it was still a great movie, and I was already aware of how talented Coogler is as a director just from his work on Creed alone. Now here's a film that's 100% his thing, not based on any pre-existing IP, just a straight up original standalone movie. I hope Coogler's opportunity to create something like Sinners paves the way for more filmmakers like him to do something that's fully their vision, cause you can see how much passion and effort was put into something this director and the entire team was committed to. The first sequence at the music house is easily one of, maybe even the best movie moment of the year. An incredible one take that really pounds in the theme of music connecting to all different cultures and time in such an ingenious way. This was the moment that proved to me Sinners is something special. Add in some of the best shots seen this year, an amazing score by Ludwig Göransson, and not one, but two Michael B. Jordan performances. If there is one movie you have to see from 2025, it is definitely Sinners. It's even a possible contender to win Best Picture this year. So you all owe it to yourself to give this original film a chance if you haven't yet. Sinners is worth taking that rocky road to Dublin, as it's one hell of a time at the movies. Now I know what some of you guys are thinking after what I just listed off. Whoa! K-pop demon hunters? One battle after another? Frankenstein? F***ing Sinners? Those are all some of the absolute best movies of the entire year. What could possibly beat out f***ing Sinners? Well, I will come forward to say that this number one choice compared to other lists I've seen for this year is very unconventional. It wasn't quite the biggest box office success of the year, and it probably won't even win any major awards during the Oscar season. Like at all. But damn it, if there was any movie that is 100% the kind of movie I hope to come by every single year, it is by far this one. As this number one pick is the kind of movie we need right now. So, without further ado,
Push the button and pull the crank. Push the button and pull the crank. Push the button and pull the crank.
Now I know what some of you are probably thinking, seeing this at the top of the list. Really? You're gonna put the damn Daffy Duck and Porky Pig movie as better than Sinners or One Battle After Another? Why put this simple little cartoon movie at the top of a best of the year list? This is bad because, technically speaking, The Day the Earth Blew Up was already released as a 2024 movie in some areas and was submitted to the 2024 Oscar ballot, so it doesn't count as a movie from 2025. Well, excuse me for not living in the 3 states that were playing this movie for like one night at a film festival in 2024. And you know, I'm not alone on considering this to be a 2025 movie, because let's be real, most people saw this movie in 2025. In fact, the damn trailer even says it's a 2025 movie.
In 2025, they're coming to the big screen like never before.
So therefore, I am putting this movie at the top spot of my 2025 list, whether you like it or not. But honestly, I can't really see how anyone would have a problem with this being so high on the list, because, well, it's Looney Tunes. And when I say Looney Tunes, I mean this is 100% classic Looney Tunes. No Michael Jordan, no Brendan Fraser, no references to a billion Warner Brothers movie, no whatever the hell Lunatics Unleashed was. This is straight up a classic Looney Tunes short as a feature-length movie. There's a simple story about Porky Pig and Daffy Duck saving the world from aliens. Some might say it's too simplistic, with not a lot of depth in the vein of the usual Best Picture nominees, but honestly, the simplicity of this movie makes it all the more charming. It sets its focus very clear on it being just a really great big screen cartoon movie that is enhanced by the execution of it all. Sure, it might just be about two iconic Looney Tunes characters, with many others noticeably absent, but as a cartoon, just focusing on Daffy and Porky, it's a blast to watch. Seeing these two bond and interact is a fun sight to behold, as this movie doesn't feel like a modern update. It feels like a genuine return to form of seeing these characters be their wacky selves with the kind of dynamic we know and love. It's a perfect way of making a nostalgic throwback movie without having to constantly rely on Easter eggs and callbacks to previous installments. They just made a new Looney Tunes movie for the new generation. And that's something we desperately need more of. Films that really have their artists express themselves, as, my god, the animation in this movie is incredible. All the line work, expressive faces, smooth movement, and lighting made this a movie that deserves to be witnessed in a theater. I'm glad it got that release, especially in an age of CGI and more unfortunate AI slop running rampant. Here's a nice return to form of seeing 2D animated characters drawn as part of a big movie. It's a near perfect movie in terms of the exact movie it's trying to be. Really, I only have one gripe with the movie from a plot perspective, and it's this.
But I was not subjugating the Earth. I was trying to save it.
Then why the fuck didn't you say so?
Though the real reason why this made the #1 spot for me is because this is the kind of movie we needed more than anything else. Not just a 2D animated movie featuring the Looney Tunes, but a movie that showcases that creative talent and art can still strive in an era where some might believe it's gone. Even when things might seem bleak, you can't deny that good things can prevail. So even in the mix of AI generated art, an animated movie can still strive and have success in their own right. The more we acknowledge movies like Day the Earth Blew Up, the more we get a brighter future with even more awesome films that let artists express themselves. I mean, this movie's success did help make Coyote vs. Acme become official this coming year. That's the kind of energy I want to go into 2026. Acknowledging the true achievement in art and film, so we can make sure we can get even more in the future. If a Looney Tunes movie can strive in 2025, then we all can too if we do our best. So take that for what it's worth.